So just a note on what PSI I'm using. On the hardwoods I used between 90 and 100, kind of fluctuated a little bit. 100 was fine, didn't drive it too deep in the past. I've used 80 to 90, but I used around a 90 PSI to drive the nails through. On the quarter round, I'm using a brad nailer 16 gauge 2-inch nails at about 50 PSI. I kind of experimented around a little bit. That's driving it in there. Not too deep and not too shallow. So it took me a little bit on the backboard. Usually I use a little sample piece, but I didn't have a back baseboard sample piece. This hard oak wouldn't have been accurate trying to drive through the quarter round. My quarter round I measured is really not 3/4 inch. It's probably sold as that. It's about 5/8 inch. I'm using 2-inch nails. I tried a little shorter. They weren't working very well. 1.5 didn't work. You need 2 to 2.5 is what they say. Hold your gun at about a 45-degree angle. Nail gun like that. You want to go into the baseboard, not into the floor, because the floor is going to move. Moisture, seasonal movement back and forth. You don't want baseboard that moves different direction, different amount, since it's pine. So you want to go into the baseboard, and then you're going to bring back some white wood putty and fill the holes here, and you're going to caulk along the top edge here, very thin bead along the top edge. So now I'm getting ready to work on this return, and we'll check back on that. Okay, so I tapped down the carpet along here with some tack nails, big broadhead ones. And then I'm going to use a threshold. I'm going to use this T-piece. It's a low profile, fits into the door. The other one I was about to use, it was kind of close to shaving the bottom of the door. You could take the bottom of the door off and cut it, take a track saw, cut it off, give you more room, but I'm just going to go with a thinner profile. It seems to cover. There's other profiles. There's this one too. You can buy all kinds of these things. They're not cheap, these profiles. They can be 40, 50 bucks a piece for a long piece. It's probably just short of doing 2 thresholds. But I've got enough, so. And there's that other T-track one I had before. I'll show you that one too that I haven't installed yet, but it's this one. It's a fatter, more narrow one. So I'm going to use a wider one here for this threshold down at the door entrance. And you know, I put 3 screw holes. I've got those small head screws. They have very small heads on them. Here's the head size, and I'm going to fill those with the acrylic, Bruce Hardwood acrylic product that hardens. And if you want to, you can even take a little acrylic paint and paint a little grain, black grain in the holes. We'll see how it turns out. If I need to do that, I'll do it. I've got some black up here to paint with. Got some darker brown material to paint with too. So I just put 3 across, 1 in the middle. Make sure I didn't hit where the nails, the flathead nails are up under the carpet there. You can see them. This is my threshold piece. I'm going to pre-drill some holes. If you're going to use nails, you still want to pre-drill for the 10Ds. But I'm using the screws, a little bit better adhesion for my threshold. So I need to find the middle, so when I drill a hole, it's right through the middle of this piece. In order to do that, I take a piece of paper right here. I held this down against the paper to draw a line of width there and there. You can cut it out the same width. Fold it right in half. Bang. Fold it in half. And you get your center mark. You can put your center mark on there. And you can take it along here, line up either edge, and there's your center. To draw right through the middle on the threshold. So ding, ding right in the middle there. And ding there. Now I did angle these edges. It's about 3 or 4 degree angle. I took an angle bevel and I set it in here on my casing and found out that this one's kind of angling in. I'm sorry, it's angling in a little bit. This one's parallel to it, kind of angling in. So it's about 3 or 4 degrees difference. It's a real tight fit. Now you don't have to do it that tight. You can always caulk, take some white caulk and put it at the base. I still may put a little caulk, but it was tight fit in there. If you get it angled just right. Okay, for the shoe molding, quarter round, whatever you want to call it, I've got an angle down here. It was about 20 degrees angled out at the end. So then this corner return here, instead of just cutting it, slicing it back, I rounded off and put an end cap piece on here. Most people just angle it back about 60, 70 degrees, I think. Then you got to paint it again, because when you chop that off to length, you got to paint it. Now this hasn't been. I'll put a little touch-up paint or caulk in here. Fill my nail holes with wood putty, then caulk along the top line here. But so to make this return a little fancier, what you do is you cut like an outside corner on either end here where it ends at the casing of the door. And you take a piece here, and again like an outside corner, both pieces like that. And then take your miter saw and just chop it straight down from this corner. Now I drew my line a little out from the corner, but it should come up right to this edge. Again, the saw with the blade of the saw should be on the other side of this line. But so you're going to chop that off, and then I'm going to take a little activator for my CA glue, spray it on this end. Take this piece, put a little glue. I put it together on a scrap piece of this hardwood, this polyurethane, in case it drips out a little bit, and then just hold it together for a few seconds with the activator. Works quite well. Okay, so I'm just taking my activator. I think I got it at Woodcraft or somewhere, and I'm gonna spray it here and set that down and pick up the other piece with gloves. I've got it across two boards here, so keep it level. I'm gonna push it together. My hand, after I put a little CA cyanoacrylate glue right here on this surface. A little bit's gonna drip out, so again I move it around a little bit so it doesn't glue to this. I spray this with an activator afterwards, this board, so in case it's got any loose glue on it, it'll firm it up real quick. I'll do that for both ends, and then I'm gonna install it on the wall over here. So this is the final. It's first threshold's carpet. Again, I put tack nails down on the edge of it, and then I put a T mold on it. The rest of the room is done, and including the closet. There's another T molding here. And in the back, I've got the shoe molding on, caulked between the baseboard and the shoe molding. Filling your nails. Here's where I just butted the board straight up against a tile threshold. That's one thing, that the holes where I caulked, see that wood putty? Bad stuff. It's Minwax wood putty, but it's not really brilliant white. I noticed that when I got the can at the store, that it wasn't really white enough to match the trim. Plus, I guess it's oil based, so you can't paint over it. And acrylic might bleed through, and it shrinks and expands or whatever, so paint wouldn't be good for it. So probably next time we'd use a wood filler, sand it, and put a coat of paint on it.